here from stampingbees.co.nz. Welcome to this month's Stampin' Global Video Hop. We have some fun techniques this month to do with embossing. So many different ways that you can emboss: dry emboss, wet emboss, paste emboss. So many ideas that we are all going to share with you. So I'm going to flip you over. I'm going to start, and please make sure that you click on the next person in the comments below to watch their great tips and techniques as well. So let's get started. Embossing, absolutely incredible technique to do on your projects. I know that it can be often quite magical when you see embossing work. My son is absolutely in love with the dry embossing with the embossing folders. He thinks it's so magical how you can change the look of paper by just putting it in a folder and running it through a machine. But there is two types of embossing, with the powder and with the embossing folders. So let's just start off. I will show you the embossing with the powder initially. Now I am going to use my little embossing buddy. Now this it just prevents excess going on your project. You can use cornstarch or anything like that at home if you don't have one of these. Just something to dry the paper. Your fingers actually have a little bit of oil in them, and that can attract the powder as well. So let's just grab, now this is the embossing powder, that's clear, and we're actually going to be using white for this one. Now the other thing that we're going to be using with this is Versamark. It gets really sticky. It is a watermark stamp pad, and it's clear but very sticky, and this is what the powder adheres to when you ink it up. So we're going to ink this up. Lots of Versamark on it. So if I was to stamp on there, on a piece of designer series paper like this, it really wouldn't stand out so well. So this just means you can white emboss it, or gold or silver or whatever you have on hand, and it really does mean that the image or the sentiment stands out, and you get a much crisper, clearer image. So let's just make sure that I've got that. Okay, put that to one side. And as I say, using the white. Now I'm doing it on the paper so that it will catch the excess, but make sure you do just give it a good, generous covering. And then you're not going to waste that, because you will be putting that back in. And anything that misses, you can just get it from the paper. So just before we blast that, I will just get any excess. I don't think there's much, but just in case. No, very good about getting that. Right, so just put the lid on and bring that back in. Now I will have to blast you, I'm sorry. I do try and avoid this sort of thing, I must admit, generally, because it is a bit annoying. But when you watch this powder, you know when it's set, because it will go a lovely white shiny colour, and that's when you know. See how that's changing? It's just really magical. Just love it. I love embossing. There's so many different ways you can do it. There we go. And how amazing is that? The good things in life are better with you. So that really stands out now on that designer series paper. And I have used the dies from the Tasteful Touches suite, and I have actually used this die in the suite to cut that out. These come with some beautiful tags in there, and this is what it looks like cut out. So that is one way of using your embossing powder. I'm going to be covering a couple of different techniques today, but there are so many. The other one I'd like to share with you is that you don't need to have a particular colour to be able to create a embossed, like if you want to watercolour something, you don't want a white embossed look or a gold or whatever, you can actually make it whatever colour you want, and I am going to show you how to do that. So I'm going to bring in my Stamparatus, and I'll keep the paper over there because we'll be using that pretty much straight away. Now the thing with this you do have to remember, of course, is that these inks dry a lot faster than what your ink would, your Versamark does. So you have to be a little bit quicker with getting the powder on than if you were, I might just pop that underneath there. That's going to make it a bit quicker. If you were using Versamark, which doesn't, it takes a long time to dry until you obviously activate it with the heat. Now I'm going to use Crumb Cake, and I'm going to give this a really generous inking. Okay, now that's just right up in the corner, and give that a good press. And I will do it again. Make sure that's still in the corner and give it a good ink. Here we go. Now I'm going to be able to put straight away onto this clear embossing powder. So this doesn't have a colour. It is clear, as it suggests. So when we dry this, I don't really want that all over my Stamparatus, I should have pulled that away. When we dry this, it will be the colour of the ink, which is perfect for what we are wanting. So you can't see it at the moment. Just get rid of that powder from in there. Now the Stamparatus makes it great for being able to make sure that you get the stamp, if you're stamping twice like I did, directly on top of the previous stamped image. So this is the flower from the Tasteful Touches, the flower here, and that was the sentiment from the Tasteful Touches as well. Beautiful set. Right, sorry, I'm going to blast you again. You won't really see much change in this when we heat it. The colour may change a little, and it does get a little bit brighter. That would be the only thing. But the reason I want to do this, if you are watercolouring, embossing an image before watercolouring means that you keep a lovely, crisp image. So that is what I wanted to do it for today. There we go. As I say, other than getting a bit darker and a bit shinier, you can't really tell. But when you can tell, obviously, is when you go to do some watercolouring on it. And I will just show you what I mean. So this is a pencil, Coastal Cabana Stampin' Up, and it's a watercolour pencil. I haven't used these for ages, and I did another project using them. And I thought, oh, that's right, I forgot about these. I actually love them. So they're getting a bit of loving from me at the moment. And I haven't used watercolour paper because I'm not actually wanting to do a very watercoloured type image. I'll show you in a moment when I get the watercolour pen. I'm not really needing to, the great thing about watercolour paper, the shimmer paper or the watercolour paper itself, is that you can move the colours around when you're putting the colour, the ink onto the paper. So that is not something I'm really wanting to do, and I'm not going to be saturating this paper. And I've just used the Daffodil Delight for the middle. And then I'm just getting the pen, one of the new water pens. Just make sure there's a little bit of water there. Don't need a lot, just a very small amount. And I'm just basically blending these colours in. And as I said, I don't need to saturate. I'm just really smoothing out this watercolor pencil to get a nice smooth image. But because I have embossed the outline of the flower, the colour is not running and it's staying nice and crisp. There we go. So that is using the crumb cake and clear embossing. Right, the other type of embossing is using a folder, embossing folder. Now there is a couple of ways to do this as well. So let me just show you. I'll be able to bring in the new Stampin' Cut machine to show you. We're going to be using this plank embossing folder, and I only need, pretty sure I only need one clear one with that. So I will put these other ones to the side. Now, to start off with, I'm just going to straight emboss this. So you just put it in the folder. Now with these thick ones, it's really important to run the folded edge through your machine first. I have done it the other way, and it can crack your folder, and it can just not work that well. So I'm just going to stand up for this. I can bring this machine in, and I'll put the handle sticking out so it doesn't. Okay, so just running it through like this. And when you bring that out, look at that, all that pattern looks just like wood. Well, Coastal Cabana wood, but definitely got the wood grain in it, and it's just absolutely magic. I just love what you can do with these embossing folders. You can add just a small amount of texture, or you can create a solid look. With the folder, for what we're going to do next, I'm going to show you what you can do if you use ink on your folder. So I'm just going to put, to show you what you can do, I'm actually just going to put it, I mean you wouldn't normally do this because you would be using one side, but I'm just going to show you just generally the different side, or depending on which side you put your ink, what effect you would get. So let's just put that in there. As I say, you wouldn't be doing this normally, putting it on both sides, but it's a great opportunity to show you. Okay, let's pop it in there and just run that through. And this machine, look how easy that is. It is just, I can just do it without having to hold it down and really use a lot of force to get that through. It is just so easy to use. I love it. It is super amazing. Okay, so let's put that over there, and I can show you now, to get that a good clean, the two different effects of which side you put your ink. So that gives the background, as I say, the background has the ink, and the ridges are lighter, and this side the ridges are darker because the surrounding area is not being inked. So two different, completely different looks depending on what you want for your project. But I'm going with the white today. I was wanting to have white for my project. So the next thing you can do, sorry, I've just got to get my chair back, and I'm standing up to do the embossing. The next thing you can do is, once you've embossed, you can take any colour and you can lightly run your ink pad over. So I'm just wanting to use a little bit of white to really make my ridges on my planks to stand out. So you just very gently rub your ink pad over. So that is if you want to do it without inking up your folder. So as I say, there's lots of different ways you can do this with your embossing folder. So versatile. So that is the other way to emboss. Now, just let's put some of these things together that we've done today. I've done some in advance just to show you what it is like when you put them all together. Okay, let me find that. So I have done all of this ahead of time, of course. I have coloured these two flowers and I have cut these out using the, let me see if I can find it here. This is using this from the Forever Flourishing dies. These are fantastic for little background leaves, etc. And I'm using grey granite, and this is at 21 and 14.8. And this is Whisper White. Now I am going to just rough up the edges a little bit. A favourite technique of mine. Okay. It does make a little bit of a dandruffy mess, but that's all right. Okay. Just a little bit. I think with this sort of textured look, it is a perfect technique to use. Right. I'm going to pop some glue on that. Don't know if you can hear the wind out there. My gosh, it's a really, really windy day. We're sort of up on a bit of a ridge, so it does get extremely noisy at times. So I'm just keeping a very, very fine border on that. So let me measure that for you while I'm here. So my Whisper White is 9.2 by 13.6 and 8.8 and 13. 8.8 and 13. So I will write that down on the information as well that I'll put up on my blog about the card and all the products used. So I'm going to use, even though it's not actually Coastal Cabana, I think it matches really well. And this is one of my favourites as well. It's sheer ribbon and it's actually in Pool Party, but because it's quite sheer, I think it goes really well. And I am enjoying using the seal, stamping seal for it. I would use double-sided tape, but I am enjoying just being able to put a little bit of stamping seal on for my ribbon. Now, a little hint about that actually, you can't use, let me just make sure, you can't use your Stampin' Seal on the back of embossed paper, I found out. It does actually not take very well. Because I think you've already broken down some of the fibres in the paper, it actually doesn't let you run the Stampin' Seal over. I found out to my disappointment as I was using the Stampin' Seal Plus and I've got it all jammed up and not working. So I've learned a very valuable lesson. Nice one. Okay, let's pop that on. Make sure I've got it in the middle. Yeah. Now, I'm going to pop that there. I might use some black ones on there. I love being able to use either black or white. It really is handy. The good thing about the black ones too, of course, is that now I'm just going to leave space around here because I will be tucking one of these flowers under. You know that which bags are on and off, which makes it quite handy. Okay. And I'm going to pop that there. Brilliant. Now I'm going to just glue a bit on the bottom. As I say, I've pre-cut these. I'm just going to put a little bit of glue. I'll leave the top unadhered, I was going to say. Unglued, that's not right either, not good English. I will leave the top loose so that there gives that movement. And I will add a bit of glue onto the bottom of this, which of course is perfect because if I was to want to glue the top, you'd see it on the vellum. Okay, that's why I didn't put the dimensionals up here, and I am actually going to glue. Okay, I might glue this one. Going to glue this one down because I'm going to tuck it underneath the label. So just play with it until you're happy to where it is, and probably put it about there, I think. There we go. Now put a little one down the bottom as well. I think I'll just put one, decided I'll just put one down this bottom side because I'm going to tie a bow there and I don't want it to be too busy. Okay. I'll tuck it under there. There we go. Okay, oops. We'll cover that up in a minute. Now I will pop this up on dimensionals, but I'll pull that out a little bit. I don't need dimensionals on the top part because that will be sitting on the label. So I just need to put it down this bottom section. So I will just put 3 along the bottom there. Leave enough room for the bow and not cover up the letters. So much to remember. Okay. Yeah. Excellent. So now I will do the bow. I'm just taking it off the end of the reel so that I hopefully don't waste too much. It is quite a nice bow to tie, a nice ribbon to tie. It's quite soft. So just play with it until you're happy with where it is, and oops, stuck to my finger. There we go. And just cut that. I can take it down a little bit more if I need to. Oops. Okay. Let's take that down a little bit more. what I want to do, actually. It's a bit like rabbit's ears at the moment. I'm taking it around that way. You just have to fiddle with these sometimes to get them exactly as you want them. But patience. Okay. What I thought I would do, in actual fact, is to tie this around it as well. I'm just going to thread that underneath. I love this twine, especially for this sort of card. I think it just really finishes it off. And it helps keep the ribbon in place. There we go. And lastly, I thought I would use these beautiful gems from the Elegant Faceted Gems from the Peony Suite. And just haven't even opened, this is my second packet of these. I must admit, I have been enjoying them. And I think, so let's just chop this off a little bit while I'm, that's better. And where is my little tool? My Come Pick Me tool. I think I'll use the white shiny ones today. Aren't they beautiful? Really, really like them. And done. And look at that. That got there all by itself. Actually, if you want to be there, that is absolutely fine. Let's do that. I can put you there. And we will put another one. It was trying to tell me something, I think. Let's see. Put another one there. There we go. Beautiful. So dry folder embossing, dry embossing, and powder embossing. White or whatever colour you want. So a few options for you today. I really do hope you enjoyed. I hope that you have learned something today. Please make sure that you click on to the next person. They will be sharing some fantastic embossing ideas with you as well. And really enjoy the Global Video Hop. Take care. Bye.